Welcome to the Meditation Club. This week we're going to talk about time. It's not going to be terribly esoteric study of the philosophical nature of time. It's going to be very practical. We're going to talk about the best time for you to meditate, and how to find time to meditate, and how long you should meditate for, and how to create a routine and become regular in your meditation practice. So the best times to meditate are around about sunrise and sunset. It's something to do with the energy of the planet and all of that. Let's not get too woo-woo about it, but it feels better. And that's the main thing I want you to do, is feel good in your meditation, especially in the beginning. That'll motivate you. And later on, you'll be self-motivated, I think. So sunrise and sunset are good times. You can meditate any time of day. Also midnight is a good time, but not if you're too tired. A lot depends on where you're at, but midnight is also a good time. How long should you meditate for? We'll look at that in a minute, and then we'll also look at how to find time to meditate and how to create a good routine and maintain that routine. So times to meditate, in addition to the time of day, what are you doing at that time? Before eating, I mentioned this earlier, another time, but this I can't emphasize too much. Meditating on an empty stomach makes all the difference. Shiva, the father of yoga, probably the first great yogi in the world. One of the secrets that he talked about in his 7 secrets of spiritual success was food, right? Controlling food, eating the right kind of food, eating at the right times, and not eating just before you meditate. So you want to make sure that your stomach is empty. You don't want to be starving, that might distract you, but you certainly don't want to be digesting when you're trying to meditate. All the energy will go into your stomach instead of into your head. There's a lot to be said for meditating at the same time of day each day. So it's a bit, again, like eating. If you eat at the same time each day, your body gets to know that. You get a kind of a biorhythm. So your body learns that you have breakfast at 8 o'clock, and about 10 to 8 it starts releasing these digestive juices, and you feel hungry, and you go and eat, and you can digest nicely, because you'll always digest better if you feel hungry. And your body gets to know the routine. Your body will also learn your meditation routine. If your meditation routine is to meditate every morning at 6:30, after a while your body will secrete the kind of hormones that make you feel like meditating, and you'll find it gets much easier. So trying to stick to a regular schedule of meditation will really help to develop your practice. Some people say to me, I didn't meditate this week because I didn't feel inspired. You can imagine how I treat that. Yes, the idea of meditation is to cultivate, it's to tap into your inspiration. If you wait until you're inspired before you meditate, I don't know when it's going to happen. Meditation will inspire you. Doing it will inspire you. It's kind of like writing. If you happen to be a writer or know a writer, you might know that they have a strict routine. At least the successful writers do. When they sit down to write, whether they're inspired or not. Somerset Maugham, a famous writer, had a saying. He said, I only write when I'm inspired. Fortunately, I'm always inspired at 9 o'clock in the morning, sharp. He knew that even if he doesn't feel in the mood, if he sits down and starts writing, within a couple of minutes, a flow will come, he'll get into his writing. Meditation is very similar. You may not feel like meditating. There may be some kind of resistance in your mind. It wants to be busy. It doesn't want you trying to control it and rein it in. But once you sit down, then your mind will, realize, okay, there's no escaping this, and then you'll go into your meditation, and the inspirational flow will come. So meditate at the same time, if you can, every day, in the same spot also, but we'll talk about that in more depth another time. And as I said, sunrise and sunset are good times. Before eating, make sure you've got the right hormones happening for your meditation, and it'll be much more fun. How long should you meditate for? Well, it's one of these things. You start off with a small amount and you increase it gradually. So I would start by setting a minimum for yourself, and this is your choice, but let's say you decide, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes once a day. It might be that you could sit for longer than that. You can if you like, but set a minimum. And then increase that gradually as the weeks go by. And we've got time. We're getting together every week. I have a very long series of ideas and tips I can give you to keep teaching you more about meditation. This can go on for years, don't worry. It's not a race. So start off by setting yourself a minimum, increase it a little bit each week if you like. If you use the guided meditations that I provided, which I do recommend, the silent period in the basic one is about 10 minutes. There's also some chanting and spoken guidance in there, so the whole thing is about 22 minutes. So that's probably a good starting point. What I'm working on is a meditation app, which can be used in your computer or your device of whatever kind, and that will give you the flexibility to choose how long you're going to meditate for, how long the music will be, and give you some other options. But that's not available yet. I will certainly let you know when it's ready. It might be ready by the time you get to this, because you might be listening to this at any time. Now, the long-term goal that I would suggest is to work up to is 30 minutes twice a day. Now, that might sound a little daunting, or maybe you're already doing that. But if it seems like a lot, don't worry, just take it in little steps, and you'll find that after a while that you'll want to meditate that long to really get the most out of it and go really deeply. Finding time to meditate. This is a big one. And of course, I get a whole lot of different excuses from my students. I collect them and I enjoy refuting them because most of them are flimsy. Saying you don't have time to meditate, to me, is a flimsy excuse. I would ask people, do you have time to eat? Do you have time to sleep? In my view, meditation is more important than either. I don't eat unless I meditate, because meditation gives me more benefit than eating. Of course, if I starve to death, that's different, but meditation takes, you've got to give it a priority if you want to, if you want your mind to be willing to go into this discipline. How to find time? Well, actually, if you meditate an hour a day, so as I was suggesting, you work up to 2 half-hour sessions, and that might take you a year, but that's fine. If you work up to an hour a day, you'll find that you need less sleep. Once I started meditating regularly 2 hours a day, which I got into pretty quickly, I found that I needed 2 hours less sleep, or approximately, maybe slightly less. I lost almost no time at all. Sleep, most people feel they have to sleep 8 hours a day. I used to sleep 8 hours a day. Once I was meditating 2 hours a day. Ever since then, 6 hours is fine. I wake up, I don't need more than that. That's true for most people that do a regular meditation practice. They need less sleep, so you don't actually lose much time. And it's good to be creative. Think out of the box a bit. One of my students, he's a very busy guy. If he can find time to meditate, pretty much anyone can. He's got a really demanding job. He's a project manager for a big construction company, and it's a lot of pressure on him. But what he discovered was he'd come home in the evening from work, he'd be tired, it'd be pretty late by the time he got home, he'd have driven through traffic, and he'd be hungry, and he wants to go and eat, but he's got to meditate first, so he'd kind of rush it. And he was never, it wasn't easy, it wasn't satisfactory. He'd end up eating late, and he had to get up really early to work, and wasn't happy. Then he had an idea. Why not meditate in his office at work when everyone else has left? Now, he's the boss, so it's he's got his own office, so you may not be able to do this. But if you have that opportunity, why not meditate at work? Let the traffic die down. This is where he saved a whole bunch of time. By the time he finished his meditation, the traffic was much less, and he could get home more quickly, and he didn't have to fight all those other drivers trying to get home. So that was a simple little creative way that he found that he could meditate and actually save time. Not only that, he found that his office developed this kind of vibe of, that reminded him of meditation, and he felt much more peaceful. He dealt with his staff in a more kind of harmonious way. He said it really worked well. So there's one possibility. You may be in a very different situation, but be creative about ways to find the space in time. And of course, you've got to ask yourself a few hard questions if you really think you don't have time to meditate, like, do you watch TV? Do you mess around on Facebook? Do you watch endless YouTube videos? Do you, waste time? The time's there if you want it. And this is true for just about everybody. Maybe single mothers, very hard, but most people can find, and I know single mothers who meditate regularly. They have to be very disciplined about it. It's harder for them than most people, but just about anybody can do this if they really want to. So the last thing I want to look at this week is goal setting and creating a routine for yourself. Now, if you know anything about goals and routines, you'll know that it really helps to have clear goals, measurable goals, and to write them down and to check on them. Sounds scary, doesn't it? That's what works. I know it works for me, and just about every, productivity coach will talk about this and maybe start off with it. So write down your goals. Say you decide, okay, 10 minutes a week, I'm going to meditate, 10 minutes a day. I hope it's not 10 minutes a week. If it's 10 minutes a week, it's better than nothing. 10 minutes a day. Write this down. This is my goal. Stick it on the wall somewhere you can see it. Okay. But I want to go a step further than that. Create a routine for yourself. And you might want to put it on an Excel chart, or if you have a system for kind of checking on what you're doing every day, build it into that. So, to-do list, meditate, 6:30, 10 minutes, then whatever comes next. Go for a run, whatever you like to do in the morning. But write it down, create a written routine for yourself that is going to come up somewhere, on whether it's on your computer diary, or if you keep a written routine of some sort. And if you don't, I really suggest you do. Make sure you lead a disciplined life, make the most of your time. And the last thing is accountability. Well, I'm going to bug you. I'm going to bug you every week, of course. That's my job. My little email will arrive from the club, and you'll be seeing the video, and you'll be reminded to meditate, and we'll meditate together, which we're going to do in a minute. And I'll be asking you to, check on your routine, reminding you to, meditate every day, and reminding you of the benefits of that. But you might want to find a buddy who is practicing meditation as well, or just learning if you're doing that. Check in with each other. Often, you know how it is. If your buddy expects you to meditate or to do whatever it is you've committed yourself to, you'll somehow feel more obliged than if you just promised yourself. Silly, isn't it? But that's how we are often. So if you can find an accountability buddy for your meditation, that's great. That'll really help you. It might be your dog. Every time you see your dog, oh my God, I didn't meditate. Just something to trigger it. So now we're getting to the stage where you might want to really make the effort to meditate regularly, do a bit every day, and after then you'll quickly start to feel the difference. So we're going to go into our meditation routine now. See you soon. So how does that feel? Want to feel like that every morning? Then remember what I said. Repetition. A little bit every day. Specific time. Before eating. And check on yourself and remind yourself that this is something you want to do a little bit at a time and build up your life-changing meditation practice. I'll see you next week.